Just ahead on CTV News, Chair Burrows announces new funding to help federal workers impacted by the shutdown. And we continue our data center conversation with a member of the task force.
I have been silenced in this process. I am concerned about the methods that they've used to conduct this task force.
Plus, Simon Buggs has our Wednesday sports page. Those stories and more on CTV News, starting now.
Good evening, this is CTV News for November 5th. I'm Michaela Newton.
And I'm Jonathan Hunter. Thanks for joining us. As of today, this is now the longest federal government shutdown in U.S. history, and many people are finding it hard to make ends meet.
But help is on the way for residents impacted by the shutdown. Byron Scott has our story.
We want to help.
County Council Chair Edward Burrows has teamed up with the nonprofit 100 Black Men of Prince George's County.
The government shutdown and workforce reductions have placed families under financial burden, uncertainty, and in many cases, genuine crisis.
The goal, to provide much needed local help to some residents of Prince George's.
So today, we are proud to announce the launch of Federal Employee Relief Fund, a $1 million district-centered initiative designed to provide direct emergency support to federal workers and contractors who live in District 8 and who have been impacted by this shutdown.
The $1 million is expected to help about 1,000 federal workers who have been impacted by the now 36-day-old federal shutdown. Burrows explained why the money is earmarked for District 8 residents.
It's coming from two sources. The first source is by state law, the MGM has to provide a certain amount of revenue that must be spent in a 6-mile radius of the casino. And then secondly, there's another grant pool that the council has access to. We've combined both of those pools to come up with $1 million for this initiative.
100 Black Men will distribute the funds, with applications due by November 21st.
Members of District 8 residents, they will log online, they will fill out information that was required on there. We have another staff member that's going to vet it, and once everyone is vetted and we see what the pool is, literally our system is going to do a batch upload and send out resources to District 8 residents.
To apply for the funds, go to 100princegeorges.org/relief. Byron Scott, CTV News.
Thanks, Byron, for that story. And again, the application deadline is November 21st. To apply, you can go to the website on your screen.
And Council members Shayla Adams Stafford and Ingrid Watson hosted a resource and procurement fair. The event was for people that might have been recently laid off from the federal government, currently furloughed, and may be transitioning into business. There was also a free food distribution for attendees. CTV spoke with Councilwoman Shayla Adams Stafford about the event, who says it was all about connecting people who are ready to take the next step.
I know firsthand the brilliance of our federal workers. They've managed multi-million-dollar budgets, some of them. They have great project management experience. They've led strong teams, and those are all transferable skills to building strong businesses, and I'd like to help them make that transition.
And an eviction gone wrong. According to the sheriff's office, during an eviction Tuesday in the 500 block of Main Street in Laurel, deputies reported hearing what appeared to be gunfire coming from inside the residence. They then left the home and called the occupant's cell phone. Deputies later re-entered the home and found a male who was injured. A weapon was recovered, and the person who was injured was taken to a nearby hospital for treatment. The person is in critical but stable condition. And yesterday was Election Day for states around the nation, including here in Maryland.
And here in Prince George's County, there were a few city elections as well, and the unofficial results are in.
Starting in College Park, 2 new faces emerged as the projected winners for District 2 with Holly Simmons and Christopher Gill. And in District 3, Ray Ranker will be joined by newcomer Daniel Oates.
And in Laurel, a big switch up for the at-large city council seat as Brenton Smith beat Christine Johnson by 17 votes so far.
And in Upper Marlboro, the top 5 candidates winning the council member seats are Charles Colbert, Sarah Franklin, Derek Brooks, Karen Lott, and newcomer Joseph Auricle.
And the city of Sea Pleasant is mourning the loss of a beloved public servant. Councilmember Hope Love, who was currently representing Ward 2 on the city council, has died at the age of 72. Love was appointed to the council to fill a vacancy back in 2017. She then ran to keep her seat in 2020 and won, and later ran for re-election in 2024. City officials put out a statement saying, quote, "Her commitment to accountability, equity, and progress has left a lasting mark on the city's legacy of service." Sea Pleasant has also lowered flags outside of the city hall to honor her. And Maryland Governor Wes Moore is getting pushback from lawmakers after his recent announcement to create a redistricting advisory commission. The governor says the goal of the commission is to recommend fair and representative congressional district maps. But not everyone is on board with the governor's decision. Senate President Bill Ferguson says the Senate is not moving forward with mid-cycle redistricting. Republicans have criticized the governor's decision as they believe his move is politically motivated.
Well, Attorney General Anthony Brown is joining a coalition of 12 states in suing the Trump administration, accusing it of unlawfully interfering with federal disaster and homeland security grants. The lawsuit targets South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem, the Department of Homeland Security, and FEMA, claiming they placed improper restrictions and funding holds on programs that support emergency management and first responders. Brown says Maryland won't allow the administration to jeopardize public safety. Meanwhile, a bipartisan group of more than 60 Maryland lawmakers is calling on major utility companies to step up and protect consumers from rising energy costs. Led by Senator Katie Fry Hester, the group sent a letter to the CEOs of BGE, Pepco, First Energy, and SMECO, urging them to push back against policies at PJM, the regional power grid operator. Now, lawmakers warned that under current rules, the surge in large data centers could leave Maryland families footing billions in extra costs unless changes are made to ensure those massive energy users pay their fair share.
And in Maryland, we're 1 year away from the 2026 elections, and Governor Wes Moore appears to be doing well in the polls. A UMBC poll found that nearly half of those who were polled said they would support the Democratic governor. Nearly 3 in 10 said they would support a generic Republican candidate. Poll experts say it's a good sign the governor is doing this well a year ahead of the actual election. The bulk of Moore's support comes from his own party. More than 3/4 of registered Democrats said they would support Moore. You're watching CTV News. I'm Jonathan Hunter.
And I'm Michaela Newton. Still to come, a local high school played a part in career development this morning.
That's right. After the break, find out how students were able to explore careers at the Future Fair. Back in a moment.
CTV News.
Topping our news tonight, the federal government is shut down.
We are not going to shut people's utilities off during this shutdown.
We are not defeated, that there are opportunities available, and we're going to become a power force for this economy.
Very excited for the opportunity to help advance our students.
I think this is our opportunity to get it right.
During his first year as Terp's athletic director, James Smith has made it clear that he has a strong desire to elevate Terp sports.
What does Terp sports look like for everyone?
To get an education and to play a sport that they love. And if we can give them the resources, they can win.
I think it's our opportunity to have broader conversations in a real thoughtful and methodical way. And I think we're going through that process right now.
And that wraps up CTV News for now. Thanks for joining us.
CTV News, bringing you news that you need to know.
Everyone likes rooting for their favorite team with some friends. But if you plan on drinking, don't drive. Designate a sober driver or schedule a rideshare for a safe ride home. Be the make-up plan driver. Be the driver who saves lives.
Welcome back. The Maryland State Department of Education has released its report card, and it shows Prince George's County public schools are improving. More than 75% of schools in the county earn ratings of 3, 4, or 5 stars. Plus, more schools improved than declined from the previous year. Prince George's County is following a statewide trend. Across the state, more schools earned higher ratings from the previous years. Interim Superintendent Sean Joseph says he is happy with the growth and says our students are making gains, and that's no accident.
And connecting students to different career paths was the focus at a local high school this morning. Discovery Education hosted its 2025 Futures Fair event at Gwynn Park High School today. Students had an opportunity to meet with professionals from the finance sector, the medical field, county parks and recreation, small business owners, among others. Students were also encouraged to ask the professionals about their career, the skills needed for the job, and learn how to network.
Our overall goal is that we want to encourage early and often career exploration and giving students all sorts of experiences that allow them to understand what their skills are, what they're interested in, who the people are in the jobs that they could be meeting.
It's very important to learn about them so you can at least expand your information, explore new things that you want to do in life, even in the future or even something later on.
For more details on the program, visit discoveryeducation.com.
The University of Maryland has announced a new fundraising initiative. Forward, the University of Maryland Campaign for Fearless is aiming to generate $2.5 billion to support research and innovation in areas including artificial intelligence, quantum science, and the arts. The new initiative is starting off with $943 million in funding that the university has raised since November of 2021. The funds will also be used to invest in areas to improve students' experience and strengthen academics.
And despite a policy change at the University of Maryland on e-scooters, some bike rental companies are seeing a boost in sales. UMD announced that it would prohibit students that live on campus from owning e-scooters and e-bikes back in August. Those students who want to utilize those types of e-vehicles are now required to rent them from Capital Bike Share or VO, two companies contracted by the university. Now, reports show that VO saw a 50% increase in ridership in September and October.
The Prince George's County Planning Department has unveiled their preliminary Central Avenue Blue and Silver Line sector plan. The plan proposes strategies for land use, economic prosperity, and mobility. The plan covers a wide area, including Central Avenue, Martin Luther King Jr. Highway, and Old Central Avenue. A couple key locations include Addison Plaza and Northwest Stadium. The project team is hosting an open house on November 13th at the Prince George's Sports and Learning Complex. And if you have any questions, you are welcome to stop by.
Well, in celebration of Native American Heritage Month, the city of Hyattsville, in partnership with the Piscataway Indian Nation, have announced the renaming of the woods surrounding Hyattsville's Driscoll Park to Nacotchtank Woods. The name refers to the headwaters of the Anacostia River and Nacotchtank people who lived and cared for the land around the Anacostia for over 15,000 years. The city plans to have a formal recognition ceremony of the woods renaming next year.
The Federal Drug Administration says drug makers have recalled more than 580,000 bottles of a blood pressure medication over concerns it may include a cancer-causing chemical. The capsule drug, known as Prazosin hydrochloride, comes in 1, 2, and 5 milligram doses. It helps relax blood vessels to facilitate blood flow and is sometimes prescribed for nightmares and other sleep disturbances caused by PTSD.
The Spotlight's extra sweet this week because our pet of the week is Marshmallow. She's a 14-week-old domestic short-hair kitten, and she's as fluffy and soft as her name.
The little ball of sugar loves to melt into your arms and has been toasting up hearts ever since she arrived at the shelter. She has a heart of gold, and she'll turn any house into a perfectly sweet home.
Very sweet, very mild-mannered, love head rubs rather, and she's very, 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 very sweet.
Would you say she's more like quiet?
Very quiet, very quiet.
Smaller household, or?
Oh, she would be excellent for a household. Yes, absolutely. She's very sweet, very gentle, mild-mannered, just waiting for somebody to take her home.
So cute. So if you're looking for a furry friend who will add a little sugar and spice to your life, Marshmallow and her shelter friends are ready to stick by your side forever.
That's right. And you can call Animal Services at 301-780-7200. And just remember, your next best friend could be just one scoop of love away.
Absolutely. All right, still to come on CTV News, you've heard the county council members' opinions on bringing data centers to Prince George's.
After the break, we hear from a county resident sharing her experience on the Qualified Data Task Force. Stay with us.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Our back and forth. It always came back. Dad! You probably don't remember what you told me.
That was perfect.
But I heard every word.
In Prince George's County has many residents in an uproar. The Qualified Data Center Task Force was created by the County Council to take a deeper dive into the impact of data centers in the county. Sitting on that committee and joining us today in studio is Stacey Hartwell, who is here to share her perspective on data centers and the decision-making process. Stacey, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Anaya.
So let's jump right in. So Stacey, what is your stance on data centers coming to Prince George's County?
Well, you know, I would like to give a little perspective, a little context. Data centers are important. We need data centers. However, wherever you put data centers makes a big difference. And in Prince George's County, where we are considered an underserved, where the majority of the county is considered underserved and environmentally overburdened, I don't believe that data centers are the best choice for us, especially when you consider the Landover location, because it is centered in the heart of a Black community, of an existing Black community.
All right. And you also mentioned that you reject politicians who trade away health and wealth for community members.
These are the people who put these politicians in office. It is important that they hear the voice of the people. It has been disheartening to see that the will of the people is not being exercised by the people who put them in office. So I really think that we need to reconsider our approach to data centers for the county and center community voices around this very harmful element. You know, the data centers are referred to as community killers. And it's been proven in places like the fight in Memphis that's happening, the fight in Bessemer that's happening, where these data centers are harmful to the way of life in existing communities.
And Stacey, you also mentioned to me before that you believe there are laws and policies in place that silence community members and developers and strip away community rights.
I've seen other interviews that have been done where we refer to a decision that was made, a vote that was taken in 2021, where it essentially fast-tracked data centers and removed the opportunity for people to give their input. That decision, that vote was had when everyone's hair was on fire with COVID. So the community was very distracted, and I really question the motivation of the planning board when they moved forward with that, that decision. And that was the onset of removing community voices. There are other pending legislation, that's CB 92-2025, I hope you don't mind, I'm going to refer to my phone here, all these numbers. CB 105-2025 and CB 106-2025 that would weaken public oversight, silence community voices, and open the door for more pollution-heavy facilities in predominantly Black and brown communities. So these are really the foundation of policies that could really take or harm communities of color.
Yeah, and you mentioned silencing voices. Talk to me a little bit about your experience on the Qualified Data Center Task Force. I know that you mentioned you often felt silenced.
Well, let me just share with you, because in your introduction you talked about the uproar. And that uproar happened because people weren't, they did not have civil conversations prior to the advent of proposing data centers. So that's why you get the uproar, because people were essentially ignored in this process. I, as sitting on the task force, I've experienced, well, first of all, let me tell you about the makeup of the task force. I am one of the few people on the task force, I think there are 3 of us, that represent community voices. Everyone else on that task force has a political interest or financial interest in the advance of data centers. They are not objective voices. So when it's time to vote, we're always in the minority. We have not had a vote just yet, but if we were to vote, our voices are in the minority. We recently went to Frederick because there's a false equivalent drawn with the opportunity in Frederick and comparing it to what could possibly happen here in Prince George's County, and I maintain that it is an apples to anvils comparison. Frederick has more land and less people. We have more people, less land. We have more established, long-standing established communities that suffer from environmental harms than what they do in Frederick. But when we went on this tour to see the site in Frederick, we were in a meeting where one of the labor advocates insisted that the NAACP was for data centers. Now, I am the chair emerita for the NAACP Maryland State Conference Environmental and Climate Justice Committee. I am intimately aware of the labor impacts as it relates to environment. And when I attempted to correct him in this meeting, and yes, I was talking at the same time he was talking, I was told to stop talking. When I attempted to dispel this inaccuracy that this narrative that he was trying to advance, and that his word would be the last word. And I was not able to address the inaccuracies of what he was stating. So I have been silenced in this process. I think that's a good enough example. I don't want to get into more detail. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I am concerned about the methods that they've used to conduct this task force.
Mm. So as my final question, I do want to ask you, what will you do in your power that you have on the Qualified Data Center Task Force to make sure that community voices are heard?
I have made myself available to the community to share with me real time when we're sitting in those task force meetings, questions that they have or points that they would like me to bring up. Outside of that, I also rally community voices to address, for example, the draft report that the task center has just come up with. In my opinion, it was fraught with inaccuracies and unverified information. And so I reached out to the national NAACP to be a part of my coalition. I've reached out to organizations like the Center for Engagement, Environmental Justice and Health, and other credible, learned voices in this space to provide comment on the draft report. So I try to pull together voices around this and support organizations. PSL is an organization that I share information with so that they are aware of what's happening behind the scenes regarding these data center meetings.
Well, thank you so much, Stacey, for this wonderful information. I do appreciate taking the time out to talk to you. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Well, the Qualified Data Center Task Force is still working towards coming up with recommendations for the County Council, but they must be submitted by November 30th. We'll continue to update you on the latest on data centers in the county as more information becomes available.
All right, thanks so much, Anaya. And if you missed her other 2 sit-down interviews on data centers, you can still catch them.
You can just search for them under our YouTube page, PGCTV online.
All right, don't move. Simon Buggs is here with our Wednesday sports page.
That's right, and I hear we have a loaded sports page today. What's going on, Simon?
Hey there, everyone, and coming up on your Wednesday sports page, players from the UMD football team give their thoughts on head coach Mike Locksley being on the hot seat. Find out what they had to say after the break. Don't move.
Prince George's Community Television, the home for everything Prince George's, is gearing up to start our summer media training and classes. Come to PGCTV and get hands-on training in field production, studio production, producing and directing, and video editing, and take your skills to the next level.
What's going on, everyone? It's finally time for your Wednesday sports page. Now, first up, I gotta let y'all know that there will be some exciting high school playoff volleyball action going on tonight as Oxon Hill will match up against Northern High School. CMIT South will try to keep their season alive against Patuxent. Parkdale and Flowers will be battling it out to advance to the next round. And finally, the Eleanor Roosevelt Lady Raiders return to action against Blair. And don't worry, I'll have some highlights for you all tomorrow. Meantime, some exciting news from my alma mater as Bowie State quarterback Savion Witherspoon has been named CIAA Rookie of the Week. This comes after the true freshman had a great game in the team's homecoming matchup against Elizabeth City State, recording 139 passing yards, 81 yards rushing, and 3 touchdowns, all of which came on the ground. This is Witherspoon's first CIAA weekly honor of the season. The Bulldogs will face off next against Lincoln University on the road this Saturday at 1 o'clock. And sticking with college football news, as I reported yesterday, wins have been hard to come by recently for the Terps football squad. Maryland is currently on a 4-game skid, and with that, fans are beginning to voice their frustrations as they are calling for head coach Mike Locksley to be fired. But despite that, players on the team are sticking by their coach no matter what.
It's frustrating just because, you know, all the faith that you have in your coach, a tremendous amount of respect for him, and you definitely don't want to see your coach go through anything like that. So just, you know, sticking together as a family is the most important thing, and we're going to do that and continue to do that.
Fans are entitled to their own opinion, and I really try to stay outside of the outside noise. I know I'm all in on my coach, and I believe wholeheartedly in my coach and his messaging and his plan for our team, and I believe that we will turn this around, and then by the end of the season, that won't be the same song that they're singing.
The Terps will face off next versus Rutgers on Saturday at 2:30. Moving on to the NHL, the Washington Capitals will host the St. Louis Blues tonight. The puck drops at 7:30. And lastly, the Washington Wizards will take the court tonight against the Boston Celtics. Tip-off is at 7:30. And that wraps up your Wednesday sports page. Simon Buggs, CTV Sports.
All right, thanks, Simon. Let's get a look at our 3-day weather forecast tonight. We'll be mostly clear out with winds as high as 43 miles per hour. Tomorrow will be sunny with a high of 58. Friday will be mostly sunny with a high of 63, but we expect some rain Friday night. Saturday will be mostly sunny with a high of 69 and a low of 48.
And for our community calendar this Friday, the Largo Town Center Association will be hosting the Largo Lot Party. Come celebrate Chairman Barnes' first 100 days in office while enjoying a line of food trucks, live music, and a fun painting activity. Festivities is for adults only and will be from 6 to 9 p.m. But for more information, contact 301-952-3671.
And don't have time to catch our top stories and sports on television? You can find them on our YouTube page or follow us on all social media platforms.
Have a story idea? You can reach out to our CTV News tip line by giving us a call at 301-386-4085 or sending an email to ctvnews@pgctv.org.
And as always, we look forward to hearing directly from you. And that wraps up CTV News for now. Thanks for joining us.
We'll see you again tomorrow. Have a good night, everyone.